with all the other network and various media outlets here in the US.
And just to pick up on that idea of the concession, it's been a tradition in American politics since 1896, before phones, where a written note was passed for the first concession note. And since then, it's made life an awful lot easier for the winning and the losing candidates, hasn't it? When the loser picks up the phone after the projection and says, "You won, I lost." This time it might be different. According to the figures, there have been 36 inaugurations where an outgoing president has handed over to an incoming president. On 5 occasions, the outgoing president has not taken part in the actual swearing in. These now are live pictures in Philadelphia, where the count in Joe Biden's home state has now put him over the top. Our correspondent Nomia Iqbal is in Philadelphia. Nomia, we're seeing some pictures of Biden supporters celebrating where you are. Are people reacting?
They've been celebrating for a couple of days, if I'm honest, because for many people here in this Democratic stronghold, it was a done deal. Some of them were saying they were just waiting for that projection to come. It is pretty loud here. People just so excited about that projection that the BBC is making, that Joe Biden will be the next president of the USA. And as we've been hearing there from all our correspondents, it is a historic moment for him. But let's not forget who the vice president-elect is. Senator Kamala Harris, his running mate. She will become the first female vice president. A historic moment if that projection comes through. Also, the first black woman of Indian heritage as well. But not to put a dampener on things, James, because I don't think Donald Trump is going to concede anytime soon. And in fact, he's due to hold a press conference, or his legal team is certainly, involving Rudy Giuliani, who's become a bit of an attack dog for the president. They still claim that the reason Joe Biden has been ahead in the election so far is because of voter fraud. There is absolutely no evidence of that whatsoever. And I think in many ways there's an argument to say that it's not that he's been leading in Pennsylvania, a crucial swing state which has decided the election now, that perhaps he was always ahead. And certainly that's how lots of supporters feel here, as you can see and hear.
And just to explain to our viewers, those pictures of people standing around earlier were of Trump supporters, as we understand, and obviously they're getting the news now. You can see them there, and that's obviously why there are no celebrations in that. Nomia, Joe Biden built back the blue wall, and it gave him the election.
That's right, and I think that strategy he had of the scrappy kid from Scranton compared to Wall Street Donald really paid off here, especially in some of those key counties. People who want to go and have a search to find out a little bit more about Pennsylvania. Allegheny County, for example, is a key place. And as I mentioned, Philadelphia is a really, really Democratic stronghold, and I think for a lot of people here, as I mentioned, it was a done deal. And Joe Biden was in no doubt either. He gave, more or less a victory speech yesterday, saying that we are going to win this thing. And it's been a bit of a wait. Elections always are, particularly during a pandemic. Donald Trump isn't really waiting. He's already been tweeting that he's won this election. But we can, just to confirm, project as the BBC that Joe Biden is set to become the next president of the USA.
Nomia, what do Biden voters like about him? What was it about him that got him over the line?
I think the fact that he's pretty normal, I would say. And, you do hear people saying things like, look, we know he's a bit boring. We know he's a bit dull, but we want that. After the last 4 years of just unpredictability and chaos and that kind of, real sort of charged politics, Joe Biden returns America to something a little bit normal, a little bit kind of quiet, where politics isn't always on the forefront, isn't always on people's minds. And of course they know who he is. He was the vice president for 8 years. And so I think he is such a stark contrast to Donald Trump, and that in itself is what they like about him. I was hearing before, he ran for president twice before. His weakness had always been that he was part of the Washington furniture, that he was boring. But now that weakness has become his strength.
Nomia, just to explain to you and to our viewers, we're watching pictures now from Black Lives Matter Plaza, which is outside the White House. It was named Black Lives Matter Plaza by the mayor of Washington, D.C., who is herself a Democrat. And those supporters, I can't particularly see cheering there, but I imagine if they've gone to that plaza now, it is to take in the Biden triumph. And to look on the right as the camera moves there, you'll begin to see the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, which for Joe Biden will be his address from the 20th of January. There you can see the White House itself, and perhaps fitting, Nomia, that the man who will be living at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue was born in Pennsylvania.
It's perfect, really, isn't it? And I'm sure we'll probably see that in a few headlines over the next few days to come.
Just looking at President Trump now, he joins a small club of one-term presidents who didn't manage to get immediate re-election. Jimmy Carter, Herbert Hoover, Taft, a few others. Many of them sidled off the stage. What can we expect from President Trump?
I mean, I'm going to make a prediction in that I don't think Donald Trump will sidle off the stage. He is going hard with his legal battle against this. He believes this is all fraud. As I mentioned, his legal team's holding a press conference at some point today to challenge that result. And it'd be really difficult to see what his challenge will be. I mean, I think in Pennsylvania there was, maybe an expectation that there would be a recount, but I think Joe Biden, as I mentioned, he's been so ahead, I think, in this race this whole time that isn't going to happen. We can expect over the next few weeks, I think, to see more tweets from Donald Trump to calling this election fraud. But I think it's pretty clear now, with all the projections, that Donald Trump will be relegated to that status of a one-term president. But I don't know who will tell him that.
It won't be you. Joe Biden himself has been acting as a quasi-president. We're just seeing pictures of Rudy Giuliani there. Oh, we've gone back to Black Lives Matter. Joe Biden has been acting as a quasi-president, a president in waiting, Nomia, but he now becomes the formal president-elect. He doesn't take power till January the 20th, but I would imagine that invisible sense, that cloak of power.
That's fine. Thanks so much.
I don't think Nomia was listening to me there. That invisible sense of power moves to him immediately. That's joined again by Gary.